Mama said I should stop acting weird. I'm being too loud, it's just me and my depression beard. Who are you now? More is less and less, the less appears. Feeling chewed up, but I guess I got some ends to share.
So, back in 2005, 2006, I used to work at this repair shop. I had a nice long commute. It's about an hour long, this route I'm taking. Right now I'm heading out from Rome Center, Michigan, on Onstead Highway north towards Onstead, Michigan. There was actually a faster way for me to get between my house and this shop. It was 77 miles long, but it was faster than this route because you were on the freeway for about a third of it, and the rest of it you were on highways that were 55 mile an hour speed limit, no stop signs or traffic lights or anything. But I went down this kind of winding route that goes through farmland, parks, because it's so much better for a person's sanity to have some scenery and something to occupy yourself with if you're on a really long commute like this. Along the way, I'll point out some points of interest and share some stories of the things that happen to me while riding 2+ hours a day down these roads. Sometime in winter 2005, probably December, January, I was coming into work down this road, so I was going the opposite direction. And that night, about 5 or 6 inches of snow had fallen. It was a wet, slippery snow. And I was in a 99 Mustang Cobra with just normal all-season tires, which on that car means dry pavement tires. Maybe rain if you're careful. I'm coming over one of the hills, one of the steeper crests, and I'm only going about 10 or 15 miles an hour. I'm creeping down this unplowed, snowy road in this Mustang, just trying to make it to work. I come over the crest, and to keep myself from gaining speed down the crest, I let off the gas like you would. Of course, the back end comes out, and I'm just on a ride. Nothing I can do. Steering inputs, braking inputs, none of it matters. And I just go sliding down the hill, backwards into the ditch on the right, our right, so across the oncoming lane of traffic. Luckily, no one was coming. So I just got out, hitchhiked with someone who knew me, who was driving by. This is the hill coming up that I slid down, so I went off into the ditch to the right. It was full of snow, so I didn't go all the way down into those trees or anything. We're coming up now on Onstead, Michigan. It's not a very interesting town to outsiders. Not many people live here. It's a small town. It was even smaller in 2005 and even smaller back in the early 90s. This white sign on the right says Onstead welcomes you, and it used to be dirt behind it, not grass. So the local cops would sit there and radar people coming into town. It's a funny visual. The Onstead welcomes you. Here's your ticket. I could go straight, it'd be a slightly faster route, but I turn right here to get to a road coming up that I think some of you will appreciate. appreciate. It's a pretty boring start, which is probably good when you're getting off work. The subdivision on the left that I look at here, that wasn't there when I worked out here in 05, 06. So not only does that show that Onset is growing, despite being a town that really has no reason to expand, but also it's interesting that there'd be a subdivision style neighborhood out here that's not typical of what you mostly see as houses like you see here on the sides of the road now, and duplexes and apartments in the towns and villages. The road I'm going to turn on is right over this crest, so it's an intersection that I would miss a lot when I was tired from work. I would just drive straight by, even though I turned on this road pretty much every day. This was a nice day to film this. Sunny and calm. Pretty windy. It's about 60 degrees, so it was a little too cold to be not wearing any warm gear at all, but I have a cut on my finger and I can't really stuff it into a full finger glove. The wind on the ride down here was so bad that my arms are completely tired from keeping the bike straight. Over this crest, there's a road that crosses over, and on the left, that's where the cop used to sit during rush hour, probably still does. Those of us commuting down this road would haul ass, and a lot of us were smart enough to slow down when we came to this area. Not everyone, though. Keeping this ride pretty calm, not just because I'm uploading it, but also because these roads I'm riding on have a lot of invisible bumps and crests and corners that have gravel in them all the time that you might not remember they're like that after 16 years of not riding on them. This is pretty much the last straight road on the entire trip. After this, it's all kinds of different curvy roads, slow, fast, tight corners, sweepers. This highway we're crossing over is M50, so even though we're way out in the country, this is a surprisingly difficult intersection to find a gap in traffic on, because it's the main thoroughfare between Brooklyn, Michigan and the rest of the world to the east. Brooklyn, Michigan is the home of our NASCAR track, Michigan International Speedway, and all just a pretty big town for where it's located. Lots of long-distance commuters out here. I used to do donuts in this church parking lot on the right when I was coming into work some days. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I gotta wake up somehow. This is a nice winding road with cool curves, but because it's lakefront, the speed limit's really low. I used to haul ass through here, and I can't imagine it doing now. Not only because I'm older and wiser, but also because it's more illegal to speed now than it was back then here in Michigan. Pretty much nothing here has changed. You can see a cool artificial waterfall on the left there, over this bridge. The speed limit goes up to 55 as you come down this hill, so you can kind of haul ass in these corners, go as fast as you want, still be legal. These corners are really dusty though, so it sucks to do on a bike. This one coming up is always dusty, especially in that other lane. It was an important part of this commute to remember how steep this hill is going up to the stop sign. So if there was a car in front of me, I would stop at the bottom of the hill. Even on this relatively flat part, it's more steep than it looks in the video, which is why I wasn't confident in pulling out in front of this truck. Now we're on US 12, going through the Irish Hills. This is kind of a tourist trap area that's got a ton of bars. A lot of them are like biker bar themed. A lot of them are like, there's one that's Old West themed, and you can see like Old West shows, or you used to be able to maybe, where you see guys like doing pretend shootouts at a saloon, that kind of thing. On the right here is a dinosaur themed park that is shut down. You can see a dinosaur on the right there. Used to be more dinosaurs up. They're all gone now. Kind of sad. This area kind of thrived on tourism. People going to see the NASCAR races and stopping at these attractions on the way or on the way back, or when they didn't have anything else to do and they were sitting in their hotel. This commute only sees a part of this. This is a very scary intersection. That mystery hill on the right is one of those gravity illusion places where the house is built on a slant, so it kind of feels like you're in a different dimensions galaxy, or a different dimensions gravity. We're in a state park now. Slow speed limit on this road. It'd be really fun if you could go 55 on this road and not have to worry about getting pulled over. on this road towards Wampler's Lake. This is a really pretty natural road to have on your commute. It was always one of the best parts of the day. This is also the only road I ever saw a deer on while doing that commute. There were a lot less deer in general back then. Sort of see Wampler's Lake through the trees on the left there. Lots of power boats and fishing going on in that lake. That house that I just looked at on the left, that guy had an AC Cobra. Used to see it when his garage door was open. On the left here is a golf course. I don't know if the golf course is completely shut down, but there on the left here used to be like a golf cart rental area. The place does look kind of under-maintained for a golf course, so I think it might be closed entirely. This is a nice sharp corner that you're allowed to go 55 through, but it's always dirty because of this dirt road that pulls onto it. On that morning that I crashed the Cobra in the snow, that corner was completely just ice. Not sure of the name of this road, but we're going north towards the Pleasant Lake area of Michigan, the Sharon's Hollow, Sharon's Valley area. This road was about this decrepit and cracked up when I used to ride here, so it's probably been resurfaced and fixed and gone back to being decrepit again. On low traffic roads like this in Michigan, they tend to go a really long time before they get any significant maintenance or repair. Now we cross the township line and we've got a new surface. It's also very typical of Michigan roads and probably roads other places. We're back into farmland now, and it's going to be basically farms for the next 15 minutes or so, I believe. One thing about roads between farms in Michigan is that because the roads were made to go between farms, you can find curves and corners and stuff like that as the road tries to negotiate the old farm property lines. Back in the day, it was normal for people to be doing 70, 80 miles an hour down this road during rush hour, and I've never once seen police on this road. This corner here I call Stench Curve, because on the left there, that's a pig farm, and the smell is not fun. Depending on how the wind blows, the smell even travels out a mile or more. Actually, when I was coming down here to film this video, I wasn't sure I was going the right direction, and then I smelled that smell and I knew I was in the right place. On this section here, I was in the 99 Mustang, and I came up on a hawk eating something that was dead in the road. A hawk or some other kind of bird of prey, a huge one, tall as the hood of the Mustang. And I was revving at it, creeping forward, honking, all that stuff, trying to get it to fly out of the way. And eventually I got close enough and it annoyed it enough that it picked up its meal and flew off and dropped the meal in the ditch to come back for later. I always feel bad I ruined that bird's breakfast. I dodged that trash can. The open trash cans always worry me because they're so much quicker to pick up speed when the wind blows. Right around here is where I saw the hawk. This curve can be pretty fun, but again, it's generally pretty dusty. Not usually a whole lot of gravel in it though, which is nice, but you can see it's dusty. Lots of big sky, farmland, farmhouses, and manicured evergreens in this area. Pretty typical of south central Michigan. This church on the left here always had some weird stuff on the signs. It's probably not that weird to the people who knew what it meant. Always used to really love taking off here on my Hayabusa. Road's a little choppy now to be doing full throttle pulls on a big bike. I always practice doing wheelies here on my Hayabusa. Never quite got the front wheel up on that thing. We're going down now into a park area called Sharon Valley. I would ride the bike out here on my commute and it'd be, 50, 55 degrees. So pretty chilly but tolerable. But as you came down through this valley, suddenly you were down into a fog. So the air was really humid and a lot colder. Felt like maybe it dropped under like 40 or 35 degrees as you came through here. And it would just rip the heat out of your body. So usually I would ride through here on a cold day, get back to the top of the hill, get off and get warmed up a little, get some more body heat back in me to make the rest of the commute tolerable. The surface here is terrible. If you're in the tire tracks of the cars, it's just bouncing constantly, and then those have kind of molded into the center of the road where it's not as bad, but it's still pretty uncomfortable on a stiff bike like the Z900. Going east right now on Pleasant Lake Road towards M52. In case you're not familiar with how rural Michigan roads work, you can drive down the same road and it changes names. Because technically, you turn onto a different road even though the road you're on just curved. I know it's probably like that in a lot of places, but it's a distinct feature of rural Michigan. This is the last of the farmland we'll be riding through on this commute. A lot of this doesn't seem to have changed at all. The barns look like nice and new, but the same barn. But I guess technically, is it the same barn if you've replaced every piece of wood one by one? The wide angle on the GoPro is really killing it in this shot. I'm happy the wind noise isn't too bad on the video because for me it was deafening. Alright, so we're coming up to M52. That church on the left there is called Salem Church. I'm going to pull into the BP on the right. Used to stop here every day when I was driving my Mustang because I had to fill up every day, and this is the cheapest one on the route. And the constant source of ridicule for how much I was spending on fuel, premium fuel for that car. And here's where I remember from the old days that you're supposed to go to the right of this tree. It has a sign on it. Don't know why, but I'd like to keep in good with the locals. Alright, I'm going to pull in and get some fuel, and then I'll be back to talk you through part 2.